Hello everyone, welcome to a quick overview of life story work. Today we're just going to quickly go through what is life story work, what goes into my life story book, who is responsible for life story work, what can you do to support life story work. So what is life story work? Using life story work, it's to gather and record information about a child or young person's family, community and personal journey that helps them develop a confident sense of their own identity. This book becomes a great source of information about childhood experiences and achievements. Now, the Department of Family and Community Services provides every young person with a life story book. Now, all the young people in our houses have one. And within this book, there are different sections that we're supposed to support the young person to fill in. You can add to this book, you can put additional pages in, or you can create your own additional scrapbooks. So what goes into my life story book? The life story book needs to include a written history of the child or young person's life from birth to the present time. The specifics of what goes into my life story book will depend on the information and the child's wishes. It can include photos, drawings, report cards, awards and certificates, letters from parents and carers, maps, postcards or pictures of significant places where the child has lived or visited, photos of past and present family, carers, friends, pets and so on. You can even put in a family tree or a genogram, as well as religious and cultural information. And you can decorate the life story workbook with the young person and make it as bright and brilliant and colourful as you want them to be. It's also really good to add in little sentences of situations or experiences that when the young person goes back and reads, they'll remember that moment. Who is responsible for life story work? The caseworker is usually the person who sets up the life story workbook. It is us, the carers, who are mainly responsible for the day-to-day work of helping the child or young person record their story. Since we spend the most time with the young people, then it's really our responsibility to collect as many keepsakes as we can and add into their book. Other people can definitely help with the life story work, and these young people can include anybody within their support system or network. It could be psychologist, family, next of kin, counsellor. These people all play different roles in a young person's life, so what they would want to add into it would be something that was significant between the young person and themselves. It'd be really great if we could have an open communication with the caseworker of who is responsible for what parts of the life story work. And I believe that this is a topic that should be in the agenda for each meeting you have with the house and with the stakeholders. Who's doing life story work? What have we added? Who do we need to add? They've just finished doing this activity. Let's make sure we get that certificate. So it's all about making sure that we have structured time each week within the house that life story work is getting done, and to have it done with the young person, because they get to choose what they'd like to have in their life story work. Help the young person prepare what they would like in there, collect the information, and then together put it in there. Life story work is something that really does need to be a focus of the houses on a weekly basis. The young person has the right to decide who gets to look at that book, and it's their right for their privacy, so it'd be really good to figure out together where you'd like to keep the book where it's safe. So what can you do to support Life Story Book? It's really important to encourage the child in your care to establish the Life Story Book, even if they are only placed with us for a small amount of time. We want them to be able to take their life story workbook into their next placement or with them in the future, and we want it to be full of as much information as we possibly can. So here are some ways that we can help maintain their life storybook. Spend time with them at regular intervals to update their book. And I think that's something we should actually establish within our calendar, whether it's weekly, fortnightly or monthly, that a set of time has been put aside to work on their life storybook. And as I said, there is the facts book, but there's also additional scrapbooks that we can add as well. We need to agree to keep it safe. And we need to explain that the book is confidential and no one should look at it without their permission. Take as many photos at special events and occasions, and just put as much as you want, as much as the young person wants into the book, and encourage them to put their personal memories as well and write little parts in it, so when they do look back in it years to come, that it will be, that they'll remember it and they'll understand it. Now, when they leave care, we want to make sure that they take this book with them. If we don't have information about some of the titles in the book, then we need to reach out to the caseworker to get that information with the young person, so we can make sure that that life story workbook is filled in with the most appropriate information as possible. One of the parts of life storybook as well is that in these young people's life, there's obviously good and bad circumstances that have occurred. We want to be able to acknowledge both circumstances in the life storybook, so we're going to have to talk about some sensitive matters in the life story work. And we've got to acknowledge that, you know, the young person might really struggle with talking about these circumstances. So at the same time, we want to ensure that we find the positive in these moments, and we also want to focus on happy memories as well after you've worked through the kind of sensitive ones. Unhappy events can be such as neglect or abandonment by parents, lack of community, family support, and they should not be ignored but presented in a way that the young person can understand them. And we may need to work with the caseworkers to ensure that the events are discussed sensitively and accurately. The story should not be should be non-judgmental. So it should just be factual. The most important way to help the kids in the life story work is to listen, answer any questions they have, and provide information as requested. And if we don't know the answer, we call to find out the right answer, because we're putting this in their life story workbook. And you should allow the young person to guide you as to how far or how much information they want to put in about that circumstance. And as I said, after you've been working through an uncomfortable memory or a sensitive moment, we want to definitely finish off doing life story work with some happy memories that we want to put in there. And as I've said, the life story workbook, you can add in as much information as the young person wants, and if we need to have additional scrapbooks, please do. It is designed and created for the young person to prepare with our support, with as many keepsakes as possible that they have collected over the years. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us. Thank you.